Hey guys, so it's Thursday afternoon and gonna get into the last day I saw Ryan alive, which was Friday, July 1st. And first I just want to start off by saying thank you so much for the love and support on this. I couldn't do this without you guys. The kind words of encouragement really do help, so I appreciate it. And like I said, this is hard for me to do. I'm nervous, it's I'm not used to doing something like this, and I'm sure as I go I'll get my confidence and get into the groove of things. But also it's like I'm sharing a lot of personal deep, situations that happen in our personal lives. So it's not easy. I'm putting it all out there for you guys. And anyway, I just want to say thank you so much. And I'm not going to get into a super long monologue. I know Ryan used to do those, but I honestly don't have time for those. Like, I'm helping Nico to the side, opening yogurt for him. So anyway, I don't have time like that. Time's limited. Wyland's napping right now and Nico's right here. So anyway, let's get into it. And we'll just keep them short and sweet, and just keep busting them out, okay? So, last day I saw Ryan was, the 1st, and I woke up at my usual time, which was around 6 a.m., and Ryan had been in the kitchen. Ever since we moved into the Northridge house, he hardly slept in our room, our bed. He would sleep on the couch, or I find him passed out outside in the garage, like random places, So anyway, he was asleep in the kitchen, and he had been having breathing problems for about a month at this point. It started in early June, and he had been in and out of ERs all week. And he walked out of every single one of them without getting full treatment. I mean, he would go there and sit there for hours, and Los Angeles is a very populated city. It's crowded, and if you don't have the best insurance, it's gonna take a while for them to see you and for you to get treatment. So he pretty much get frustrated over it and give up and leave. He didn't want to just sit there, how he was. And anyway, so for some reason, with this breathing problem, it gave him relief to stick his head in our freezer. He would literally stick like his whole upper body like this as much as he could in the freezer. And I mean, sometimes he'd be passed out for hours in there. I would find him, in the morning, and there'd be water, everywhere, like ice melted or popsicles that melted. I'd throw out, meat because it's spoiled. It was just, I don't know. He got some relief from the coolness, I guess. And that's how I found him that morning. He'd been hanging out of the freezer. So I walked into the kitchen and made my usual morning coffee like I always did. And, that woke him up. And he just immediately starts complaining about his breathing. I can't breathe. I'm having trouble breathing. And at this point, we were doing this almost every day. And it's like, okay, but you keep leaving the hospital. You can't do that. You're going to have to sit there until you get full treatment. And they tell you what's going on with you. They don't do anything. They judge me. I'm an addict. They don't give a crap. Sorry, I'm going to have to watch what I say because I do want these to eventually go on YouTube, and I don't think you can curse on there. So anyway, he said they don't give a crap, and he was over it. So anyway, he was, asking for me to help him find an inhaler. He had these asthma inhalers that, people would give him who had prescriptions for them, and we couldn't find them anywhere. I mean, one that had anything left, I should say, because he had tons of empty ones scattered like in drawers in his room, in his pockets. He had asthma inhalers like he had lighters. It was just Nico. So anyway, we couldn't find one that had anything in it. He would try and there was like, there's nothing. And he was, getting more stressed and frustrated and angry. And he, was asking me to help him get one or to call so-and-so to get one. And he was texting people, calling people, but no one was responding because it was still early in the morning. It was like 6 a.m. Anyway, so I was looking on DoorDash to see if, Walgreens or CVS could deliver one. Because you could get, not the less stronger ones over the counter. And, I saw that they're out of stock and you could order them and they could ship them, but it would take like 3 days and that wasn't an option. So it suggested these like boost canisters that people use when they go hiking in high altitudes. And it gives you, I guess, some kind of relief with, if you're struggling to breathe on these hikes. So I suggested that and he said anything. So, ordered a couple of those and they came, delivered to our door. And he tried those out and it helped a little, he was like, it helps. So he seemed like, it was like, he was okay for a little bit, but it didn't last that long. And, I said, well, are you going to go to another ER? Are you going to go to the doctor? Like, what are we going to do? How can you live this way? I don't understand why you're putting yourself through this. You're going to have to sit there until they see you. And, he was agreeing because the day before we went to, I actually drove him. I mean, I was at that point like, screw it, whatever. Like, I'd been driving anyway the last, probably since like, I'd say mid-May. Because I just didn't trust him to drive. Even though he would tell me he was sober, like he was acting weird. And I didn't trust him. And, he eventually would agree, like, I can't drive, you drive. So I was like, okay, whatever. So I was driving dirty, you could say. But I'd rather us be safe than not. So whatever. And I drove him to an ER the day before. And that was in, I want to say Simi Valley. Yes, Simi Valley. And we were there for like 5 hours. And, again, he gave up and told me, well, I'll go to the ER in Santa Barbara tonight because they'll probably see me a lot faster. There's a lot less people in Santa Barbara. So I'll do that, I promise. And he didn't end up doing that. And that's a story for another time. It was interesting, that ER trip, what happened. I'll go into that some other day. But also the car ride home. Something really gnarly happened. Like gnarly and funny at the same time, I guess. I don't know. But we'll talk about that another day. So anyway, he, was like, I said, well, you didn't go to the ER last night, so what are you going to do? Do you need me to take you to another ER? Like, what do you want to do? He was like, I don't know. Right now, I need more sleep. So I'm going to go sleep and then we'll figure it out. So he went to go sleep for about another 2-3 hours. And he eventually woke up. Sorry, I'm opening yogurts here on the side. He woke up and at that point it was like 10 a.m. And he had to go dose at the methadone clinic by 1 p.m. So he, was up and he was planning to go do that. And he was just, immediately complaining about the breathing. And it really was just hard to see him going through this and not taking care of himself or doing anything about it. It was so frustrating, and I'd reached out to several people about it and, we've all tried to get him to get help. And if you know Ryan, he is not going to do what he doesn't want to do if he's forced. Unless he wants to do it, he's not going to do it. He's stubborn and it's going to be his way and that's it. So anyway, he actually kind of had a plan. He said, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go dose at the methadone clinic. And then from there, I'm going to have them call an ambulance. I was like, wow, he's actually taking this serious, because I was saying, let's just call an ambulance right now. And he was like, no, an ambulance is not coming to our house. So, okay, why don't we go down the block and we'll sit on the corner. I'll sit there with you. No, we're not. Again, it was going to be the way he wanted. So he said he would have them call him an ambulance after he dosed, and that would be it. But also, he didn't want me to drive him. He wanted to take a lift, and he was going to leave the cars there, and he left the keys with me, which he had never done. He'd never left the keys or the car, really. I mean, he would always take his car and leave the keys with me just in case. Like, I don't know. That was just really weird. But that's what he wanted to do, and I wasn't going to fight him on that because I felt like he was finally going to go and sit out of hospital and do it. And he, was serious, and he was going to have them call an ambulance, which I've been wanting him to do for weeks now. And I was like, okay, let's get you going. I'll call you the lift. What do you need? Like, what do you need me to help you to get you there? And he said, okay, you need to help me pack my backpack. And so we were doing that. I was grabbing books, socks, his usual stuff, and whatever drugs he was bringing. At that point, I thought he was just doing fentanyl and maybe some Xanax or something, which you're not even supposed to mix that with the methadone. Like, already, a lot of us were telling him, you need to stop, like, you need help. And that combo enough can kill you because of the high dose of methadone he was on. And, who knows the fentanyl amounts he was doing. I mean, only he really, truly knows. But also, I guess there were other drugs he was doing that I didn't know about until he passed away. And again, this will all tie in, and we'll get to that another day. So we packed his backpack, and he packed his backpack, and I said, okay, let me get you the lift, because I had to do it. He was banned from Lyft and Uber at that point. So I, was going to get him the lift, and he said, wait, I need you to record me. I said, Ryan, now's not the time to do this, because he really wanted to start doing content, but I think he just was so ashamed and hated how he looked, and he just was so far gone, he couldn't do it. Like, he couldn't, I know he tried a couple of times, and he'd get frustrated and just be over it. And, I thought, okay, he's going to try and do some kind of video, And he said, I was, complaining, like, come on, let's just get you. Yes, honey, Times Square. Let's just get you going. And, okay, hold on just a second. Okay, I'm going to pause right here, and then I'm going to start back up in a second. But I know where we're leaving off. Give me just a second because I hear Wylan crying, so I have to make him a bottle. I'm so sorry. Hold on.